this pod will contain spoilers for Marvel's Avengers Infinity War.
We're just okay and we play some
Movies.
games. We're just okay.
Movie watchers.
Welcome everyone to a very special episode of Just Okay Movies. My name is Raptured Helicopter Pilot BIGGIESIZE, and I'm here with...
Oh, dies in the first 10 minutes of the movie, god of podcasting, Gweedo.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, Wally.
I feel so pretty. I'm Amy Schumer. Milpool. Hello.
You know what, Milpool, thank you for lightening the mood, because all of ours were very dire.
Yeah, well, that's the movie we all watched, right? I Feel Pretty with Amy Schumer.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yes. The big hit, smash hit, I Feel Pretty by Amy Schumer. Oh, Gweedo, I got asked, did you really go see that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Stilts and all, the whole thing was not a bit. Everything I said on the flagship podcast was true.
Very
Makes
interesting.
sense. Adds up.
Hey,
Has everything you've ever said on that podcast been true?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Just Okay Movies exclusive. Very interesting. All right. Well, if you're interested to hear about what we're talking about, head on over to the Just Okay Gamers podcast.
We're not even out of the gate.
Wait, you don't plug for us. We plug for you, all right?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
We're the big fucking fish here.
let me, Gweedo. All right. Let me have my time to shine. You know, this is my one time, my big chance.
I'll give it to you.
Thanks.
I'm just waiting for you to just pull down your pants and squirt diarrhea all over the movie that was probably my favorite in a long time.
I am starting to get a reputation around Discord. If you're not on Discord, listener, definitely hop on there. It's a fun time. But everyone's been like, oh, I can't wait to hear BIGGIESIZE call this one a turd. I'm like, oh my God. No, that's not how it works.
It's a quality movie, so we just thought you would innately not like it.
And that's fair. And I will say, during this podcast, I've learned a lot about my taste in movies, and I don't know if I like that reflection. And I've got to really think about things. But hey, you know, you like what you like. You know, that's
right.
all you can do. And I do kind of want to start us out here. The movie we're talking about is Infinity War. And I will definitely have put a warning for spoilers, and I really wanted to double down on that warning again, that even if you're just remotely interested in this movie, don't listen to this pod. Go and watch it. Because I don't know if I can say enough just how excellent this movie is. I know.
No baby stay out there.
It's no baby stay out. Of course. In all seriousness, the one I know we all have our criteria on what we consider to be a great movie to us. Some of us, we like the more technical aspects. Some of us care for writing or cinematography or the emotional side. I always tend to lean towards the more emotional side. If I'm feeling something out of it, to me, that's a great movie. And this movie, I felt like, delivered on all aspects, especially emotion. And I feel like that has something that has lacked, not just in superhero action films, in quite a few movies. Star Wars, all those included. This movie was able to really tap into that. First of all, I felt like it really respected the viewer. No matter if you knew comics or not, it respected your time and your attention and your willingness to sit and watch it. And the dialogue was perfect. I would say near perfect in being relevant to the story. There were some jokes and things like that, but everything was crafted perfectly. The action, you know, we see films all the time. Tons of explosions, lots of fighting. Oh, this is supposed to be great. You know, and it's all fine. And all that was here too, but it all serviced the plot beautifully. Every missed punch, every person who gets knocked out of a fight has a direct influence on the outcome of the film. Everything felt so finely tuned in that way, and it kept you engaged. And they also brought this great villain that you could really identify with. Thanos is not just the villain of the week here. He is someone that, in a way, in maybe a little twisted way, but maybe not so much, you can identify with him, and you feel for his plot that he has set out for himself, this motivation. I left the film with kind of a heavy heart. Like, I was scarred. The very last scene where you
I think
kind of...
everybody did. I think everybody did.
Absolutely. I sat and I felt like I had gone through all that. And I was feeling exactly like what Captain America and the rest of them were feeling. Just kind of a scar. And that is something I did not expect. And I cannot say enough good things about this film and how it is almost completely perfect.
Wow.
Except for the love plot between Vision and Scarlet. That, it was okay. I think Vision was a little underwritten if it was up to me. But that's really my only thing I would say negative about the film. Other than that, perfect. So what'd you guys think?
It was trash.
Yeah, I hated it.
I'm sorry. I had to get all that out from the time I left the theater. I just saw it last night. I just felt like this crazy feeling like I just gotta talk about how great this movie is.
Well, first I gotta find out, Milpool.
Yes.
Yesterday I tasked you with a mission. And I said you can choose to accept it or you can choose not to. Milpool says, this is what he says to me.
Okay.
He says, Gweedo, I hate the idea of movies, of movie theaters, of sharing an experience in a movie theater with fellow human beings. So before the Biggie Size podcast, I'm going to download a shitty Russian cam of this movie and watch it.
Yeah.
So I can just watch it. That's what he said to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said, please, Milpool, for all that is good, go to the theater and enjoy it there with an audience and have fun. And he was like, what, by myself? Why would I do that?
Jesus.
Aww.
And I said, Milpool, it's a good thing to do. Sometimes you got to be alone and you can be there with your feelings and just immerse yourself in the movie. And he said, Gweedo, you're so smart. I love you. I said, Milpool, we don't have to bring this up again. It's okay that you love me, but you don't have to tell me every fucking 5 minutes.
I mean, it's nearly nonstop.
I do love you, though.
See, there it is.
I know.
Aww.
Yeah, jeez. So I have to know, Milpool, did you go to the theater to watch it?
No, I'm not gonna go to a
You
movie
son of
theater
a-
by myself and sit there for 2.5
Such a
hours.
disappointment.
And no, I'm not that invested in this series. Although while I was watching it, I did think like, oh man, I wish I would have gone with like one or two or a group of people to experience this because it was a cool film. I enjoyed it. And I wish I could have got the theater experience, but I didn't want to go
There was
alone
some way
today.
that you could have done it.
To tell you the truth, Milpool, I was going to do the same thing. I was looking around for a cam and I couldn't find one, so like I'm just going to go because I just went by myself as well. And there is something freeing about going to see a film by yourself, and you don't feel like that tied to someone else. Like, oh, I'm sitting with you, I got to kind of acknowledge you in a way, or even just passively. You're just totally free to just be immersed.
Yeah, you scarf
I
down
will-
some popcorn.
I will say that the cam that I watched had some great audience reactions. Really felt
Ooh.
involved
Nice.
in that aspect.
Hey, that's fair. You know what? That is the best part about cams is the involvement.
Yeah, so Avengers Infinity War. I felt while I was watching it, it did everything right in making it feel like a giant crossover comic book. Like every scene in it it felt like it was handpicked from a panel from all the giant crossover event comic books that I've seen. And they linger on them long enough for people to get the idea of the picture and then move on to something else. And it felt and looked like a comic book to me.
Sure. Sure.
It definitely did, and they did a really good job capturing iconic moments from the original trade back and everything. Some are a little shoehorned in, but no, I'm kind of glad they did it. They had the Silver Surfer moment crashing into Doctor Strange's house with Hulk.
Yep.
The line was forced, I think, because I don't know. It felt, but I know why they did it. That's exactly what Silver Surfer said when he crashed. Thanos is coming, and and are we spoiling here? I don't know if
we're spoiling everything, dude.
Yeah,
okay,
go for it.
The iconic moment where Thanos has accomplished what he means to do, and he's looking out over this green valley from a cottage, kind of contemplating the new half universe he's created, and that's right out of the comic too. And then it's just some good stuff.
Oh, that brought such chills. Oh my god.
I'm sorry. Was Silver Surfer in the movie? Is that what you
No.
were saying? Okay.
No, but
Banner acted as Silver Surfer from the comics as a herald.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was the Herald of Galactus and yada yada, and he knew that Thanos was up to something, and he came towards Earth so quickly to warn everyone that Thanos is coming. He crashed through Doctor Strange's ceiling onto his couch in his study, and they walk over and he screams, "Thanos is coming!" And now Banner did it when he got hit by the Bifrost to go through space time.
Yeah. The pacing of the movie felt good. The dialogue wasn't too jokey. I felt it was a large cast and everybody got to say their piece, and it didn't leave me feeling like, oh, I wish I could have seen more of that person, or man, it really focused on that guy a lot. Even Captain America didn't have a lot of lines in the movie.
No,
but
really.
Yeah.
He served his purpose. He was like, oh shit, trouble? I'm Captain America. I'm there to help. And that's Captain America.
Right.
Oh, and just as like a side comment too, like all of the characters contributing bit by bit into that, knowing their role and how they've developed a personality on their own through this giant series of films. And I can't think of anything that's been done on this scale outside of like classic Hollywood of like the 50s and shit, in terms of scope. It's a giant cast that's been as an established character. It's amazing that you have that kind of nuance, even for a movie that's almost over 2.5 hours long. It's so cool to see that in the characterization.
Yeah. So one of the gripes I had with it was Thanos is great. Brolin did a good job. He was powerful, while also giving them a bit of a fight. There were moments where you're like, oh, they could win.
Right.
Yeah,
they didn't win though. This is basically Thanos
it's an
Infinity War instead of Avengers Infinity War. But that it goes to show how much a good villain makes these type of movies, these comic book movies. If you compare it to the Mother Box in Justice League or whatever the fuck, who the fuck were they even fighting in Justice League?
Steppenwolf, is that his name?
Oh yeah, Steppenwolf.
It was so shitty.
It was shitty. But the only problem I had with Thanos was his motivation wasn't super clear, I felt.
I kind of got that too.
Well, it was clear, and it was clear. It was simple. It was clear. It was just too simple. There was no nuance to it, like reducing the population of everything to help reduce the stress on limited resources in the universe. It's a macrocosmic idea on a micro philosophy, and that's not enough. But originally in the comics, he wanted to, I think, impress Lady Death in the same.
He was trying to appease her,
and that was a huge part of it.
It was a big part of it, but they got rid of that, and that's fine. I understand you can't introduce Lady Death and have audiences be like, "Oh, I get this."
Yeah, I get it.
But it just felt very short. He was just like, and kind of a canned motivation, like there's too many people, so we have to get rid of half of the people so that there's resources for the people.
It's dumb. It's not enough.
I don't know. I gotta disagree a little bit. I felt like it was just enough, mainly because you felt that it was not necessarily something he wanted to do. It was just something based on the life he's lived, something he saw that has to happen, and he feels like he's the only one that can take that mantle. It is simple, absolutely, and potentially flawed, in going about it that way. But I felt like it was something he cared about, and they really showed it. It wasn't just he wanted to kill everyone just because he, wanted to see the world burn. He did it because he felt like it was the best thing for the galaxy. And it was not something he wanted to do, but it's just something he felt like he had to do based on his life experience. And that kind of made you, I think we could all find ourselves in that realm of thought.
But for me, the problem was it also introduced the giant plot hole of why don't you just make double the resources instead of getting rid of half the people? You have a gauntlet that can do anything.
Yeah, the death component, which was tied to Lady Death, was removed.
Exactly.
That's why he had to kill.
He was doing it for someone in the comic books. In this, he just had kind of this weird thing where he had to get rid of half people when there was an infinite amount of other choices he could have made that would have served a better purpose to the universe.
I guess I just can't picture the gauntlet being able to do something like that, other than the time mechanic, possibly.
It does anything.
Yeah, it's like time and space.
He snapped half of existence out of. They're gone. You don't think he could snap double resources in everywhere?
But the gauntlet itself was only used for destruction. It just kind of seems like it was a precedent that's the only thing it does.
That's what Guido's saying, though. It doesn't have to be just destruction.
Right. It's only just destruction because it was made for Thanos, who had this plan to get rid of half people, and that was his plan, So it's only destruction because he's the only owner who's a psychopath.
So they can be used for other purposes other than weaponization.
Yeah, you can do anything with those stones.
I mean, you could even turn people into plants and bring back the dead, alter space, alter time. Literally, your heart's desire. It was instantaneous.
They didn't really explicitly say what he can do with it in the movie. Like, he altered reality. At one point, he altered time, maybe a few times, but I didn't really understand the full capacity for what he can do with it.
I totally agree with that. Anytime we've ever seen the Infinity Stones used, it's been as a weapon, or at the very least somehow weaponized, like with the time mechanic of the Green Stone and stuff like that. Like, I would have, out of the basis of the films, I would not even imagine that it could be used to make a whole planet of food or something like that, or just destroy hunger in its entirety.
Well, it's going to come back. Oh, go ahead.
Now that we're talking about this, maybe I missed it, but I also don't understand why he needed all 5 of them. If each individual stone has a different purpose, what was the point of having all 5 of them?
It's so that you could do anything.
But even if he has 4, what does that mean?
It means that he can't manipulate the aspect of the stone that he is missing.
Until Doctor Strange gave him the Stone of Time, he couldn't control time.
Right.
And once he got it, he could.
But he seemed to become this god when he went from 4 stones to 5 stones. And the last stone was the soul stone, right?
Yeah.
So what was the change that happened? Was there an additional power that he gains from having all 5 of them?
I think the additional power is he just has those stones. They're called Infinity Stones because they're a source of infinite power.
Okay, but his ultimate goal is to eliminate half of the people. So which stone specifically did he use to accomplish that?
All of them
together, yeah.
Okay, I don't understand what that means though.
I don't know.
Yeah,
you have to use a little bit of just comic book logic, I guess, in that he couldn't complete his goal without all of them. He wouldn't have been able to do what he did with just the time stone and the soul stone. He just needed all of them to have that power in his literal hand to do it.
I mean, the Soul Stone allows you to steal, control, manipulate, and alter living and dead souls. It's
So
also
then, in theory, that should be the only one he needs, right?
well, not really. It depends though, because see, if somebody had the Time Stone, they could go back in time and find a different way over and over again to prevent him from doing this. It's like or if somebody had control over the Reality Stone, they could alter the fabric of reality around what's transpiring and put it into a situation where he still could undo what was just done. But with
That's a good
control
way to explain it.
with
Yeah,
control of
that
time, no one can turn back
does
time.
make
With
more
control of
sense.
space, no one can alter reality. With control of the soul, he can call forth and dispatch both the living and the dead. So with all of them together, there's no counter to his will.
That's really well said.
There's also a part of the comic that they didn't show, which is impossible to show. But after the Avengers failed the first time fighting him, the fabric of reality itself assembled and combated Thanos. Like the avatar of time, the avatar of space, the avatar of the cosmos itself, manifested themselves in corporeal form and attacked Thanos because their entire portfolio of existence was threatened by him controlling those aspects of reality, and he defeated every single one of them.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what about Elizabeth Olsen's boobs? They were pretty nice.
They're
Yeah,
good.
like those boobs.
Oh yeah, when she bent over at the when Vision was dying, she like flew down. You got a nice little bounce and a bend over. Nice. I was like, all right, I like you.
They got some weight to
Yeah.
them.
They do. That's probably the second best part of her character.
She's shooting the
How-
girls off, by the way.
How crushing was that last bit with her? Like, first she has to come to terms with killing the thing that she loves, Vision,
Yeah.
by destroying the stone, and then Thanos just reverses time after she does it, and's like, nope, I got it now, and then kills him in front of her again. And
Well,
then
and more painfully too.
yeah, and more painfully, and then she fucking turns to dust. I think she had it the worst out of everyone.
My favorite part during that part after he snaps his fingers, is it Hawkeye, the guy who flies around and shoots stuff?
No, that's Falcon.
Falcon.
Yeah.
I love where it shows him like rolling around on the ground and he's like dissipating, and Don Cheadle's in the background like just yelling something and doesn't give two shits about Falcon dying. That part made me laugh, and I hated to because it was such a sad scene.
But yeah, there were a lot of deaths in this. And the thing is, with the Infinity Gauntlet and all the stones, anything's possible. So, go into the next movie expecting someone to grab the gauntlet off them and turn back everything. That's what I'm expecting.
Absolutely. That's what I'm thinking as well. To tell you the truth, though, I thought Don Cheadle was going to just dissipate from old age.
Yeah, he was looking kind of rough.
He
was
does
jacked,
look rough.
man.
He was jacked, but like his lower half looked pretty good. But man, that face.
He was jacked like the
He's
old
an
guy
old
at the
guy.
gym is jacked. Like he was
Right.
clearly working out, but he's ancient as fuck.
Right. Poor Don Cheadle. Excellent actor. Good guy.
I love War Machine.
There were a few deaths that weren't because of the Infinity Stone, though. One of them was Loki getting stabbed at the very beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
Right.
which surprised me. I was like, oh, shit, they mean business.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
fucked him up.
That's like a keystone fucking character to at least one of the franchises, and he's gone this quick. Wow. So that, yeah, I definitely knew they meant business there. But he is the god of mischief, so I'm expecting him to probably return too.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
do
This
you
isn't
really
the
believe
first time
that-
we've seen him die.
Do you really believe that anyone is going to be permanently gone after this movie?
I don't know. I think Vision is done for because the stone is gone. Or no, I guess it's not. I don't know.
He might become the White Vision.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good opening for it.
Yeah, I wonder how Wakanda feels about that.
Yeah. And you
know,
could totally tell when they made that film, not knowing how well Black Panther was going to do. Because I think he
Yeah.
pretty much said Wakanda forever, and then he evaporated.
right? He did.
Well, if you look, it's all the new class that they got rid of.
Right.
It's Black Panther, it's Spider-Man, all of the Guardians of the Galaxy except for Rocket Raccoon. Who else? Who else of the new class?
Let's
Spider-Man?
see.
Bucky's
Yeah,
gone.
Bucky's
who
gone.
Everybody pegged as the new Captain America.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the original Avengers left almost.
It is. It's Banner, Scarlet Witch, Stark, and Cap, and then War Machine and a few others. But
I mean, I know all bets are off, for the sequel, but I'm just happy how much of a big unintentional or intentional fuck you this is to everyone that was convinced that Stark was going to buy it.
yeah, yeah. My predictions were way off, especially where that missing Infinity Stone was. Who would have guessed that they would have gone to some weird planet where Red Skull makes a Easter egg cameo appearance?
What the fuck?
That's who
Out of
that
nowhere.
was. Oh,
Yeah, it was
I
Red
was
Skull.
killing myself trying to figure out who that was. Oh, that's right.
That's a scene from the comic, by the way. But I was that still Skull? I don't think it was it?
I don't think it was either. I don't know who it was, but yeah. And then that leads to the next death, which was Gamora. Thanos takes Gamora and sheds a tear, and then throws her off a cliff.
Well done. Loved it. It was so. I cannot say enough good things about Thanos. He was so well designed. I loved his motivation. I loved his mannerisms. I just felt like he was a villain that I just loved. Hate because I disagree with his prerogative and his motivation, but still, it's just someone I can kind of respect and even sympathize to a degree. And that's just a great villain. And that's not the easiest villain to make, because you can either make him too sappy or make it too fake, but you really felt like he was a real character and a real person that could live today. And it just gets you more and more involved in the story. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. And then the only other death that I think of that wasn't the snapping of the fingers was Vision. Am I missing anyone?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I will say though that Peter Parker, Tony Stark, when he fades away, that really hit the feels. That was well done.
My daughter cried for that. Shed a Thanos tear.
Aw.
It was well done, man. It hurt. Oh,
it was. I think he was. Man, I wish you would have watched Homecoming.
I know.
Because he has one of those moments. He has one of those moments in Homecoming where he just shows. You see, he's swinging around. He's fighting bad guys all the time. He's cracking wise. But in Homecoming, as well as at the scene, he has this moment of just like pure innocence. Like he knows he's in over his head, and he knows that it's gonna be bad news. And Tom Holland just delivers. I feel does a good job.
Yeah, he's an amazing Spider-Man. I was not a fan of a lot of the earlier ones. Just I don't know why, but that one just clicked with me. It was great.
No, I might have to go back. That performance, I mean, he was great through the whole film, but just that death scene, even though I didn't particularly care that much about his character, I like Tony, and he did a great job. But his death scene, it really hurt, because it kind of felt like how I would feel in that scene. I'd be scared to death, especially being super young and some regrets and things like that, and it just hits you right in the feels, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I left the theater and I brought my daughter and my daughter's mom, and we were parting ways in the parking lot, and I was like, well, thanks for seeing the movie with me. You don't really know what to say, because it's just, you watched a very sad ending where the villain absolutely crushes the main good guys, and then the credits roll and you're like, okay, well, I guess that was what I just watched. There's not a good reaction to it,
and that's the best. Like, that is just because you don't expect it. In these movies, you expect a glimmer of hope, and we kind of get that in the post-credits scene. But at least at that scene, you're kind of wondering, all right, is a glimmer of hope going to happen? And just fades to black, and that's just wonderful. It's so refreshing to see that. And then the post-credits scene kind of ruins it a little bit. But hey, Captain Marvel, I'm kind of excited.
Yeah. Milpool, what are your thoughts on Captain Marvel?
Not familiar with the character. What is that in reference to? Is that for the next Avengers movie?
There's a few movies down the pipeline, but I think she's technically, it's going to be an Ant-Man movie, and then it's going to be the Carol Danvers Captain Marvel movie, I think, next summer, and that comes out 2 months before the next Avengers. So It's only those two in the pipeline, but she's a character that hasn't been introduced yet in the universe.
But so when is this storyline going to continue?
Next summer. Next summer will be Avengers 4.
Oh,
okay.
Nice.
I don't know what's going to happen in Ant-Man. I don't think it's taking place during this. Maybe at the very end, someone's going to dissipate. Who knows? You guys have any ideas?
That's a good question. With Pym, I could see Pym going away. He didn't die in the first one.
I think they're going to... In the first one?
In the first Ant-Man? I can't remember what happened to Pym.
Pym's alive.
Okay.
But yeah, I see him. I see Ant-Man coming in as pinch hitter. Come Avengers 4, because they're going to need all the help they can get.
I mean, they're iconic Avengers, so both of them. Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
By the way, did you guys watch the newest Ant-Man trailer, Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I did not,
by chance. Oh my god!
I haven't.
It's so cool.
Oh, I can't wait now.
Really?
Okay,
yeah, because he's big sizing. He's going big now. So there's it opens up with him taking a truck, like a long big flatbed truck, semi, and he's he's kneeling on it with one leg and pushing with the other as a giant down the street. Nice. And they lots of switching from small to big. So you got to watch the trailer, because there's the action in it, I think, is going to be pretty cool.
Nice. Well, that was the best stuff about the first Ant-Man. Them fighting on the little toy train, and seeing it real close is super exciting. Then wide shot, and it's just a little train just falls over.
Yeah,
that was the best stuff of that movie.
But yeah, I was curious too how they're going to handle this with the Netflix series and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I guess as good as mine.
Yeah, that is a good point. What's on Netflix right now? It's Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil.
They're keeping the whole New York thing on its own level, I think, right?
Yeah, but they are still in the same universe.
They are.
They mention stuff that the Avengers do. They mention Tony Stark in them and all that. So I'm just wondering if they're gonna because I know a new season of Luke Cage is coming out very soon. If it's going to be taking place before this event or how it's going to work chronologically, it'd be kind of a shame. I don't want to really sit there and watch a whole season when it doesn't pertain to the current events of the universe.
Right.
If they're doing something like 4 weeks in advance of what happened during Infinity War. Oh.
Right. That makes sense. Man, I like that fight with Doctor Strange and Thanos. Even though it was kind of short, it was really awesome. I hope that he kicks his ass more in the next one. Like him just like multiplied himself and doing the whole Hindu god hand thing, and that was just so much fun.
Yeah. What did you think about him asking Thanos to spare Stark?
You know, at first I was like, this is strange. Maybe he's going to do something real quick or something clever, and he just gets his shit handed to him or something. But then it was kind of ruined a little bit because he had already seen all of those different outcomes, and he knows which one's the right outcome. So when he kind of gave that, like, that was the only way, I was like, okay, well, this must be a part of that good outcome storyline. He gives up the stone. So everyone has to die for them to even have a chance of winning out of that 17 million possibilities. It was still kind of sad, though, still, because you're super invested in the characters. And Hollywood, that's what you do. You get good fucking characters. You get a story that we give a shit about, and you don't waste our time. And then you can let plot holes or things that you're like, maybe I shouldn't be worried that much about it. But you do. And that's what this movie did. And I love it.
It's true.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think it's up there, probably my second favorite of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies.
I would probably rank it in my maybe top 10 favorite movies of all time. Maybe top 5. I'm not sure.
Wow.
Really, that's all you got to do is make a story that moves you. And
all you got to do is take
easy.
10 years, build about 15 different characters with their own franchises and own movies over the course of about 22 different movies.
I can't
and then
believe
have it culminate after a decade long in one giant jerk off sesh of a movie.
And that's how you get in Russell's top 5 favorite films.
I get bought by Disney too, if you think about it. Halfway through.
Right, that's true. That's true.
Mickey Mouse gave him a beef injection.
And thinking back on that, I mean, you're absolutely right, Guido. Seeing how Captain America evolved and thinking back on the first Captain America film, like, we have really gone a long way. And that was kind of fun to think about. We started all the way in 1940, and now we're fighting a purple space monster from way in the galaxy. Oh my God, this is awesome.
Yeah.
No,
it's a cinematic milestone, definitely.
It is well worth that $10 to $20 ticket of admission. This has probably been the one time in a very, very long time where I was driving away. I'm like, I'm really happy I contributed. That ticket price was well worth my money and my time.
Oh, did anyone happen to buy their tickets with Fandango?
I did.
Yeah, I did also.
I was like, you got a free poster. You know what I did? I go, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do it. I want my free fucking poster.
Yeah.
So I used the coupon and I just got it on the table upstairs.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like Star Wars and I think a lot of the other Marvel films, they've been doing that free poster deal. Not too bad. Well, you know what? Anything anyone else wants to say about this incredible film?
They did a good job. I think with all the stuff that was missing from the comic, they captured the spirit of a lot of what happened.
I'm happy. It left me wanting more.
Yeah.
And
even after 2.5 hours, I wanted more.
We all know the good guys are going to win in the end. Some people might perish in the next movie, but I want to see how it happens. I'm invested.
Yeah. I had a fun time, even though I'm not as invested as you guys. It's, you know, whenever I watch one of these Marvel films, it's always a fun time, and the writing was good, and there was a good balance of comedy in there too, which I felt like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which was probably the last MCU movie I saw, kind of maybe leaned a little too hard on that, but I think they nailed it in this one on that.
You saw Black Panther, didn't you?
I did see Black Panther, yeah. Also a good film.
Ugh.
You didn't like Black Panther?
I did not. I did not enjoy it
because he's fucking weird, dude.
It was so good. It was really good.
Oh, it was a turd. It was a turd sandwich. Hated every second of it.
Oh my god! How?
You know what? I will. Case in point for Infinity War. I cared about those characters. I even kind of cared about Black Panther because he was doing a thing that was good, and I was interested in. Where Black Panther, the standalone, I didn't give a care. Like, he was so boring. Like, come on, give me some character.
He is
give me
like
something.
the least boring character.
I like when he
He's
didn't
kind of
have
a
the
boring
powers.
character.
Oh man, he's awesome. I've always been a fan of Wakanda, so but yeah, I see it.
No, it's and I'm only rating that in the Marvel universe. As a film, it's great. You know, it's well shot, well acted, well written. But in
Will Wheaton,
that was good. I like that. But just as a film inside that universe with that curve, I just found it really lacking. But in either case, I'm absolutely love Infinity War. I think I've made that pretty clear at this point. Definitely go watch it. I don't even particularly think you'd have to watch all the films up to that point.
No.
It stands pretty strong by itself, but even if you've just seen Iron Man or you've seen maybe one or two Captain America films, you will get something out of this movie because it has strong bones. Just from this movie alone, it has a strong foundation, and I really think if you enjoy action films or just any kind of sci-fi related film, you're really going to enjoy this one. Definitely go watch it. Go see it in theater. It's a great experience.
Yeah, go see it in theater, Milpool. Do you guys remember any of the moments where the audience reacted?
Definitely Captain America coming on the screen for the first time. That was a big
in the
one.
subway when Vision was fighting, or Scarlet Witch was fighting that dude.
Right.
Yeah, my audience reacted to that one.
Let's see. Well,
there was a moment when the chick, the bad girl chick that's trying to get in the dome to Wakanda, she does get into the dome, and she has a Black Widow on one side and the Wakanda lady, I forget her name, on the other.
The general, I don't remember her name either.
Yeah, the audience popped pretty good for that in my
audience
theater.
Popping is like the most. This is a complete side set, but do you remember what's your favorite? Like, what stands out? What is the most audience pop in a film you've ever been party to?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
The first one that comes to mind is when Hulk, when Banner changes into the Hulk in the first Avengers and leaps onto that giant flying worm thing. Okay. I remember people clapping and cheering for that one.
Non-Marvel moment, or does that actually happen to be the most?
That's the first one that came to mind.
Okay, I got the one that I stand by to this day, and you're gonna laugh because I don't think it's the best, but it's the biggest audience pop, and it's probably the biggest audience pop film I've ever been party to. Was the opening night midnight showing of Independence Day. And it was when everyone was still trying to figure out what was going on. There was explosions everywhere, and they're calling for the dog, and the dog is there in an underground freeway, and the dog jumps through the doorway into her family right as the fireball goes past and lives. The entire audience was fucking out of their chairs.
I can see that.
It was, yeah, and then just the rest of the film, hello boys, I'm back. It's all of it. It was just like
welcome to Earth.
Welcome to Earth. You did not just fire that green shit at me. I mean, just all of that shit. And like, if I could have that one night back, that was like the best movie going audience I've ever been party with.
Nice. That sounds like fun. I think the largest for mine would be it'd be episode 7, probably when Han Solo shows up. I think everyone was like standing up and clapping and stuff. I'm like, okay.
Nothing's coming to mind immediately for me. I think I'd just go to lame theaters. I mean, I've seen like The Room with people, but that's kind of like a specialized thing.
Right.
Throwing shit at the screen.
I was gonna say Rocky Horror, seeing that with
Yeah,
when they're doing all the stuff, but yeah,
Time warp and stuff.
oh my god, it's so much fun. Go see Rocky Horror Picture Show. If you haven't seen it, wait and go to a theater where they're doing all the gags. It is a blast.
It is fun. Jen took me, and wasn't really expecting to enjoy it because I hadn't seen the film and I wasn't really interested in it, but it's a lot of fun.
Same here. I'd never seen it, never planned on seeing it, and oh my gosh, the music in it is just incredible.
It tends to infect you.
Oh, it does. Oh, it's so well done. I mean, what surprised me was even in like, I think I saw like 2013, it was crazy risque. Like, I can't even imagine back in the 70s, like how I can see why it was not shown until like midnight. Because even now, it's like, ooh, it's getting a little taboo. But hey, go see Rocky Horror. Go see The Room. Go see Independence Day if it shows in the theater somewhere. And definitely go see Infinity War. Well, I did want to mention the one part I thought was super funny. It's probably the one time I laughed the hardest was when Peter Parker is in the bus and sees the big circle flying over the city, and he leans up to his friends like, "Hey, make a distraction." And the friend just kind of looks over. He's like, "Oh my god, we're all gonna die!" I loved it. That was like, oh my gosh, that was funny.
Oh,
Well,
it sounds like you liked a lot of Spider-Man parts.
I'm still probably not going to watch Homecoming.
You son of a bitch! Just watch fucking Homecoming,
no,
dude.
I don't like the awkward teen parts. I don't like them. Damn it. All right, well, let's rank this fucker. All right, so here we go. Here's our ever-growing list of the Just Okay movies, top films of all time that we've seen on the pod. All right, we're starting with RoboCop. Number 2, Doctor Strange. Number 3, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Number 4, Logan. Number 5, Moana. Number 6, Black Panther. Number 7, Ready Player One. Yeah, that one.
Son of a bitch. I don't think you have to go much any further.
No, number 1. Well, I will say I have a hard time. And the very last is Battlefield Earth. That's the only one I really want to say. The rest of them they're fine. I should really post this somewhere. I've got to say it's tough because I don't know if I would watch Infinity War again. You know, I really felt like one time was enough, and that's what I needed. I would watch RoboCop probably any day of the week. So I have a hard time deciding if I would put it as number 1 or number 2. You know what, Wally? Let's start with you. Where would you rank this?
Oh, jeez. I would push it to the top.
Okay.
I would push it to the top.
So number 1.
Infinity War.
Okay. Very good. Gweedo, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't think like rewatchability is definitely a factor in picking
It is.
some of my favorite movies, but I don't think it's the factor.
Sure.
I think just overall I had a much more enjoyable time watching Infinity War than I will ever have watching any continuous version of RoboCop in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. You can only return to RoboCop so many times.
Sure. That totally makes sense. All right, Milpool. I'm very interested to hear what you think.
Well, geez, considering there was no babies in it, no baby hijinks.
I know, man.
Geez, I'm having a tough time with this one.
That's a big factor.
Yeah. No, I can see this at the top for sure. I think it had everything. Very little to complain about. It was very enjoyable.
And I would have to ultimately agree. I think this is the best film overall that we've watched. It, to me, I still kind of feel strange saying that my favorite film is a superhero film, but it's just because I'm just not a very big superhero fan. But just as a film, even taking out the fact that these are established characters in a massive universe that spanned, 30 years, I think. It's an excellent film if you just look at it on its own. And Disney and all the writers there should be very proud of themselves. I'm very proud of them, honestly. So,
Aw.
Some guy in the Disney writing room is so happy right now. He's listening to the
Nodding with the-
podcast.
nodding
He's
with
like,
the smile
guys,
here.
guys, Biggie size. He said it.
Yeah, we're so shocked. You should have heard that ribbon he gave Ready Player One. No. Hey, if we have someone from Disney listening, can you get us some interviews or some backstage, like some passes or something? I would love that.
Yeah, give us some backstage passes to Disney World.
Yeah, oh my god,
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. Do the pod like in the palace, or the that would be so badass.
It's a dream of mine.
Absolutely. We'll make that happen, fellas. Maybe. So we've got a brand new #1 film. RoboCop has been #1 for a very long time. I'm thinking, goodness gracious, what, at least like 7-8 episodes?
Wow.
It has. So, Infinity War, the #1 film on our Just Okay Movies top films we've ever seen on the podcast. So, all right, guys. Well, I think that just about wraps everything up. Thank you so much for listening. I just want to go ahead and do a shout out to everyone in the Discord community and just everyone in the Just Okay Gamers community. Thank you so much for your support of this pod. I get some messages from people every now and then saying how much they enjoy it, and also people on Twitter. I've gotten a few messages there as well. I'm very humbled and very touched that
Plug
you're.
the Twitter, dude.
Oh yeah. I'm very touched that you guys have been listening and enjoying it, and you can follow us on Twitter on Just Okay Movies, just all together. And also, if you have any thoughts on any film we've watched, including Infinity War, or any of the other topics, like probably our most popular episode has been the movies we gave up on. People were really digging that one. If you have thoughts on that as well, shoot us an email at justokmovies@gmail.com. Please send your thoughts. We'd love to talk about them and read them. Still, the pod's growing, and I'm very humbled and very appreciative of everyone who's been listening and your feedback. Thank you so much. And you all take care, and we'll see you next week. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Bye.